We've finished our series on Channel 31, but over the summer period I'm going to keep my hand in by at least putting some short form sport on the website, and I hope you enjoy it. Well, I'm going to start with the cricket. Having been in a great position in the first test when Siddle got the hat-trick, Australia really were dreadful as the game went on. They went to Adelaide and it got even worse. It's very hard to see how the Australian team is going to get 20 wickets to win a test match. The fast bowlers were awful and the batting wasn't much better. Ponting's under a lot of pressure, and the new spinner, he didn't do much. And had we been able to bat for another 45 minutes on the last day, then the rain came, then we would have got a draw. It would have been 0-0. But now we're one down. Peterson, I thought, was just outstanding. The way he belted a double century for England and then got a crucial wicket just before on the last ball of the day on day 4. Well, there's a lot of conjecture about changing the team. I don't think the spinner's good enough myself. Now we've got Harris probably with a chest ailment, strained chest. He probably won't play. They're planning to bring Johnson back on the bouncy wicket in Western Australia next week. Yet they're not going to play him in the Shield match this week. Now he needs practice in the middle. It's all very well to play in the nets, but you've really got to, play your cricket in the middle all the time to get your form back. And he certainly needs it because he was terrible in the first test. I think Hilfenhaus will probably come back in too. And Siddle, who is very real workhorse, but he just didn't look like getting many wickets. He didn't get any wickets in the second test. So they're right up against it, Australia. Now the big news, of course, is that Warnie has told the selectors, and I've got this authoritatively, that he will come back and play Test cricket for Australia if they make him captain. Now my view is they ought to do it immediately. He's in England at the moment, doing some interviews for his new show on Channel 9. Sorry about the interruption, but that was somebody calling me on my new ACN phone, which I think I've described elsewhere on the website. Very exciting, the new telco. But I was talking about Shane Warne, and I mean, he's 41 years of age, but he still hasn't lost any. If you're a spin bowler, you don't lose it as a spinner. And he's the one person I think they should try and get him back into the test team. I think it'd be a wonderful thing to make him captain. I think Ponting's quite tired. He'd like to go back and just restore his batting. So I'm all for getting Warne back in the test side. And you imagine if he came back for the Melbourne test on Boxing Day in front of his home crowd, I reckon we'd get 100,000 people there. Anyway, so much for the cricket. We'll have a little bit more next week because we'll be getting, this time next week, they'll be starting the game in Perth on a very bouncy pitch. Let's hope Australia can do a lot better. Turning to the golf, Ogilvy won easily the Australian Open. He's really a class act, Ogilvy. And he didn't look like being beaten. It was a rather dull Australian Open because he was in front all the way. Now the PGA has started today. It's Thursday here, and Scott on the third hole had an 8, so he's already 4 over. Ogilvy started well, he's a couple under. That PGA tournament, which is the third tournament in Australia, is up at Coolum in Queensland, so it should be an interesting weekend. Last night Collingwood finally had their best and fairest night. Because of the replay of the grand final, they couldn't have their best and fairest. They then went off to Arizona for their high altitude running and fitness efforts. They came back and Dane Swan won the Copeland Trophy, which is their best and fairest trophy for the 3rd time in a row. It's interesting, he's only the 4th player to ever do that. Nathan Buckley's one, Bob Rose is another, and he was a champion, and Fons Kine. And Dane Swan is now the 4th player to win 3 in a row. It turns out Buckley won it 6 times, Len Thompson won it 5 times, and he's now already won it 3 times, so he's in an elite band, and he's obviously one of the champions of the game. Well, that's about all for this week. I'm not sure there's anything much to report. The motor racing's finished, but who cares? And the Tiddlywinks tournament hasn't started. See you later.